So yeah, apparently we're live. I'll double check. And what was I going to say? Yeah. Well, apparently our video resolution is going to be better right now as well. So that's cool. So you were saying something about the weather? I just check the live.
Well, I'm saying the weather here is we're at 25 degrees now, but it's 11:30. 11:30, so it's not bad. And in the afternoon, the high temperature is about between like 12 and 3. It's going to be about 35. And today we were about 33. Tomorrow's about 35. So you're talking about over that, and I can't believe that you're getting that kind of heat wave in London, right?
In London, right? It's been this has been one of the hottest years, I think. I'm just double checking. There you go. So face space, we're good on that. And just double checking out if we are live on YouTube. It looks like we've got someone watching. That's probably me myself. I think we're live on. Yeah, we are. It looks like we've got someone watching live on YouTube. That's fantastic. And the video quality should be much better. There we go. I'm showing you. Hold on a second. See that? There you go. We're both always going to go on to single screen now, but full screen. Obviously, it looks a bit blown out. Just because
what is that, like a 2 second delay?
Oh, I don't know. Let's try it. I'll do an audio test now. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and of course the internet cuts out. Let's try it again. Test 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Delay.
I think it's no. We've gone back. I'll tell you now. We'll do it. I'm just if you're interested in that. Let's see. And this is on YouTube, so we'll see just a second. Right. Let's go. Third test. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11, it's struggling, this one on the internet connection. I don't know why, stupidly, but anyway, but it's about 10 seconds, yeah? If you're still there,
I think Jimmy. It was less, but yeah, I thought it was a little less, but well, you got maybe too many devices hooked up to your Wi-Fi.
That's exactly what I've got. Well, actually, no. That's bizarre. That's not. But what we're broadcasting on here is definitely on a it's on its own connection at the moment. Well, I'm not too convinced it's ideal, that connection, but it's so far it's good. I've been testing it recently, and as I say, we're in the middle of doing loads of different things here. Internet connections, setting up studios, cameras, awesome. Things have been good. Been a busy week, and
I opened up a bottle. That's what I had to do.
You did, yeah, absolutely. And as I said to you before, I'm on one step here, just on the water at the moment. Just
well, you're in the middle of the day. Unfortunately, you're in the middle of the day.
Good reminder. And also, by the way, we were just talking about the fact that, you're 11, what is it now? 11:37 p.m.
Yes.
Friday. But of course, you try and confuse me. It's bad enough knowing that and having to remember that. But of course, when you stick a background on with bright sunshine or daylight or cloudy day there, whatever it is, then of course straight away you should have the moon there, crescent moon in the background.
Well, the thing is, I'm worried about copyright things. So then, like, this is a picture I took myself.
Right, excellent, good stuff. Now I'm gonna. Let me see now. That all makes sense, right? Okay, I think we're ready to go.
Let's do it.
Go. We haven't started yet, people, but we for those that are new, well, they'll understand what's going on. This was just before we actually roll the titles and say whatever we want to say to one another. This is Jimmy, as you can see on the screen, and don't forget, if you want to make a comment, people, please do, and we'll remind them throughout, I'm sure. Right, let me do that, and it's almost like.
Do you have the YouTube comments over too? You have YouTube comments open too?
Yeah, I do. Well, you're going to go on. If you want to do a test, go and get on YouTube there.
I don't know. Okay. Let me get there and put it on a different window here, so I know what's going on. Right. Otherwise, I'm lost. I'm going to keep you on one. Actually, I should be putting you down here. So hold on. You know what? I'm going to switch you around because I'm not even looking. I'm looking up at the screen, and that sucks. Right. So I'm going to move this thing here, the StreamYard, down here, so I'm facing you. And then I'm going to go to ShineCast on YouTube up here. and mute it so I can.
I just done something really cool, Jimmy, which is that. Oh, it's struggling. Get out of there. What's going on? That's no good. We can't
Okay,
have it struggling.
ShineCast. This is not it. That's not it. It's something else. What am I looking for? Do you have a logo for ShineCast? Oh, here it is, right
Yes,
here. Oh,
it's the microphone.
okay, got it. Got it. Live now. It says right here. Okay, I turned that on. Oh God, it's about 10 minutes. It's about 10 minutes. Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah. No, it's about a 10-minute. Is there any? Was it any?
Any what?
Anybody out there? Anyone out there?
I don't know, but you can if you stick a comment on there, it should work. Yeah, yeah. Did you comment on there? No. There you go. When it comes in, I can just immediately check it out. See, we you know, as time goes on, when you're a producer as well as the director and the talent, you know, you're doing everything. You've got to keep your eyes on not just what's being said and your ears on what's being said, but also what's going on in the background, like people participating in that, and certainly going forward when everyone. So usually, what I would do as well, by the way, I would have gone live on my personal page, just on my mobile device, and told everyone that we're going live now. Often do that. Oh, Jimmy says what? Hey, he says something like that. What? Yeah. Okay, cool. So it all works. It's good that that bit works. There are some softwares where it's so unreliable, that technology, keeping track of the comments on the.
I got to try to make sure I'm watching you instead of the other you.
Yeah. You got two. Isn't that good? I'm greedy. You got two of me on the screen. Are you able to sit on a cushion there?
Oh, I'm on a cushion.
3 cushions. Right. Okay.
Actually, I don't want to. But I suggest that everybody gets this. This is called the egg sitter. I don't know if you know it. If you have to do hours and hours of sitting, I definitely recommend this.
Well, the taxi drivers in London, the black taxi drivers, that is the vehicle's colour. There are black taxi drivers, of course. Yeah, just qualifying. My point is that the taxis, the traditional ones in London, their drivers for years have these beaded seats. Their seats,
Yes, of course.
Yeah, they have those.
You can get them on Amazon even.
Yes, you can. Yeah, absolutely. Well, what can't you get on Amazon? Come on now. You know, he's made another $1 billion in the last day, probably. Right, so let's do this. Let's roll the titles, and if I can find them, and get this underway.
Okay.
Yeah, right. By the way, that's the point. You can hear me better now, can't you? I've got my microphone.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
In a better position. Right. That will help. Oh boy. There's always something. Always something. It's a bit like, when you're in a TV studio and then they're just like, oh, makeup here. Look, it's just gone a little bit as the wind blew. Let's
get started before my wine warms up.
Excuse me, what happened there? You're what? Yeah, well, you need to get a cooler next, don't you? Right.
You're right. I need to get a cooler. I need to get an ice bucket. I need to get a bar here.
You do. Yeah.
I'm thinking of getting those globe. Those
globe bars. Yes, yeah. I know the one you mean. It's like a globe and then it just opens up.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Look at that. We've been on here for 9 minutes and haven't even got started. We're going to start now. I guess I've got another minute because 11's our magic number. That's another long story for another day, probably about 3 months' time by the time we get this all sorted. Right. Let's get the titles underway. I've got to remember that try not to do what we did last week, which is
play it 3 times.
Well, it wasn't quite like that, but yeah. Right. Okay. It's not playing ball. Never mind. Crazy. It don't want to play ball. Right. Well, so far so good. The titles have rolled. It means it's time for this week's ShineCast with the one and only Jimmie Heaven. Is Jimmie there? Let's find out. In Japan. Jimmie.
Yeah, well, and don't
joining us
forget
live?
Martin Shine. Don't forget Martin Shine.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah. I almost forgot your microphone there. You may have just seen there as we were starting.
Oh, you mean the mute?
Now.
Yeah, you're trying to mute me. I get it. Yeah, you're trying to cut me out.
I did. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. But yes, I think the technology's on our side, and we're back 7 days later. The first time kind of just happened, didn't it?
Yes, beautiful. So I'm in Japan, Nagoya, and you are in London. Is that where you are right now? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes. Yeah. Of course, I am still in London at the moment. Yeah, definitely here on one of the hottest days again. It's about, what would we say, 96 degrees. A maximum today. They're expecting somewhere along the line on. By the way, today being the 7th of August, 2020. It's a Friday.
Okay.
Hey,
wait.
Happy people out there.
99 degrees. That's was it 99 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's 37. About 37 right now. But what time is it there right now? Again,
right now it's 14 minutes to 4 p.m.
Okay. So you're coming. Actually, the temperature should be starting to go down now. I'm at almost midnight in Nagoya in Japan, so it's about 25 degrees Celsius. So
Wow.
that would be it's 77.
Yes,
77 Fahrenheit.
You were saying though that it is the rainy season at the moment. You're just coming out of that, right?
No, well, just ended, but we did have I don't know what it's called, gorilla rain, where just suddenly rains.
What does that mean? Bananas falling out the sky?
You know what? The raindrops were about that big.
Really?
Yeah, but not as sweet.
Okay, right. You've got to be careful there, otherwise you'd be slipping all over the place. Worse than on an icy, snowy day. Have you had a busy week?
Well, it's well, yeah, of course. I mean, I'm teaching English, even though my English is my English my own English isn't that very good. So it's very strange that I'm able to do that. But yeah.
Who told you that? Who told you?
What?
That your English isn't great.
Well, you know what? When you're living in Japan, I don't speak English as much, only during lessons.
Yeah. Or
So
and to me,
you lose it. You actually lose it, even though it's your mother tongue. You actually lose it.
right. So you're not watching too much in the way of English content online either these days.
No, I do, but the communication is a completely.
Is that another song I can hear coming on there?
What?
No, I thought you were about to. I just heard the.
I do.
Right. I think.
Yes.
All our Swedish friends out there. But
there we go. Okay. Well, no, but it's if you don't use it, you lose it, and that's the truth. That's the truth. So if I'm not communicating with it. Of course, I'm teaching, and I have to speak at a very well. I don't want to say low level, but a very simple English level. So you forget words. Words just disappear. Your vocabulary, and it's very funny. Okay, so I'm half Japanese. I learned Japanese as a 6-year-old, so I was very lucky. So I learned Japanese very fast. But after I was there for I was here. Elementary school, first grade, second grade, almost half a third grade or something like that. Went back to the United States. I did study Japanese for a little bit, but after a while, if you don't use it, you forget it. Even though it's in here, but if you're not using it. So I actually had to come back to Japan to relearn it.
But did it take you a
Oiled
long
the
time
gears.
to relearn it, or because it was already, as you said, up here,
Well,
so it was much easier and didn't take you long at all?
greasing the gears, oiling the gears. What do you say that in the English? I have to ask.
You just said it, Jimmy.
Well, no, but in England, English and American English sometimes is very different.
Very different. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
exactly. As
You're using petrol and we're using gas.
yeah, yeah. Although we're all supposedly meant to be trying not to use any of that stuff these days, and we're supposed to be using wind and water.
Good luck with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, for me though, I totally agree with you. Certainly, because I've been lucky enough to travel to the United States of America for so many times, business, pleasure, whatever, and that's how we met, as people know, if they've been watching the previous broadcast, certainly. And so, I very quickly realised that wait a minute. The people in the United States, they don't understand me as much as I and the people I know in England and the rest of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland do understand USA folk. And the reason I very quickly realized myself is because of Hollywood and
Absolutely.
television and maybe radio at the time. But it was because, you know, the world has been distributed with Hollywood movies. And as time's gone on, obviously Bollywood and other places. But because everything's coming out of the West Coast there, so we had to very quickly pick up on these terminologies. I mean, I always thought, here's one for you that I'm still not sure about, because in my mind, helicopter, I used to hear the word chopper all the time when I was much younger.
Not a heli.
A heli. Well, I used to hear chopper, and to the best of my knowledge, it came from I heard it on some sort of on an American show. I don't remember which one, but in my mind is always the fact that yeah, chopper, that's an American term. But when I've mentioned that in more recent years to Americans, they tell me no, we thought that was a British term.
I
So
think it's a military term, to tell you the truth.
could be, yeah, could be. So yeah, that's just an example. I'm not sure where there's a word. I'm not sure where it originates from. But yeah, one obviously is sidewalk. The best thing when I'm over there in the United States is when you're waiting and there's people in front of you for a checkout. Yeah,
Q?
and yeah, absolutely, the word queue. Yeah, because they think you want to play pool with them. And of course, they're like, do you mean the line? I'm like, well, yeah, obviously. But of course, it's not obvious because most people over in North America, they refer to having to wait in line. And are you in the line?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Well, Q is part of their language.
Yeah.
Well, fortunately, I went to school. Well, I say high school. I went to a British Catholic school in Denmark. So, a lot of my teachers were British, some Australian,
Yeah.
Irish. So it was
Danish?
no Danish because it was
No.
English school. Yeah, no Danish school. Oh, well, actually, I
Okay.
did have some Danish. I did have a Danish teacher who taught Danish.
Oh, good.
Well, but when I went back to United States from Denmark, my schooling was British. In the last few years, I had a little bit of the British thing in me, like certain words. Of course, man, I became Californian after that, after living in Los Angeles. And,
Right.
so as you mentioned, I think the standardized English, world English, is basically California Hollywood English, what they spit
Mhm.
out. So
Yeah,
that's the
because
most
of
common.
the movies. But there are so many words that are, I say, different. I understand they're different, and that there are American terms. Again, one that confuses people always. It's not used so much these days. Again, because what happens is the world now has adopted, I think, more American English than British English because of the internet and that sort of thing, and because of people in Hollywood and celebrities using Twitter and social media.
Well,
So in general, I think that the lingo, the language online when it comes to English is more American.
of course. And the thing is,
I
I think, well, because of the internet, as you mentioned, and the information age, that I think the biggest chunk, if you want knowledge, the biggest chunk is going to be this. It's English.
And there he goes. Now, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's
You're
American.
back there. You're back there, Jimmy. You froze. Sorry. You were saying
Okay, sorry.
that the standard is mainly. Go on, carry on.
On the internet age, and it's very okay. Here's another thing: is that English is the standard now. but it's American English, and a big chunk of the websites or the internet is filled with English. Of course, there's a big proportion of other languages too. But if you're from a small country and you want information, you need to know English. So here's another interesting thing. If you went to Paris 30 years ago and you try to speak English, they wouldn't spit at you, but it would feel like they were spitting at you, mentally. They didn't appreciate you speaking English. You go back now. I went back 4 or 5 years ago. They speak English, and a lot of the young people speak English. They're playing games online. It's in English. They want information online. Most of it's in English. So it's very interesting how you thought English was a global language before. It's even more so now.
Yes, yeah, it makes total sense. Yeah, exactly. All the gaming websites, as you say, that's very big these days online. But again, the one that really gets people, I was just thinking of, is when you're on the telephone and I say, in my British moment, I just tried to call them, but they're engaged, and it's engaged, and it's engaged, a British term. The line, well, they're engaged in another conversation. But of course, in North America, it is busy. The line is busy, which makes sense. So yeah, I'm just seeing. It's funny because you're just sitting there listening to me. Yeah, no, I was just going to comment. You're sitting there still listening to me. That's almost disconcerting because a couple of times the interwibble, the worldwide wibble, has just frozen a couple of times, unfortunately. But hey, you're back. Still,
yes,
back. It's good.
No, the
so
language,
yeah, there you are. There's something I didn't expect to be speaking about. That's it. That will confuse you. No, but that's a topic I didn't expect to be touching on today. Is language.
Incorrect language? You just sporking about? Did you say?
No, that was just me. Just forget it. That was a shineism. That was nothing more. It was just me. A bit tongue-tied there. Yeah, forget that one. Actually, we do have a spork. We did. There's an item which is a spork. You've seen them. It's a spoon fork all in one. You know, when you get those takeout meals. Yeah, spork. I believe that's in the dictionary now and has been for some time.
He made an appearance in Toy Story, didn't he?
Sorry,
the latest Toy Story.
Mr. Spork.
Yeah.
I thought that was Star Trek, Mr. Spork, with the ears. Leonard Nimoy. It wasn't that him. Anyway, right. What else are we going to talk about? I've got my notes over. Oh, yeah, yeah.
We can always talk about
hey!
Okay, we're listening to you.
Hold on, before we do that, no, don't mess up. Come on, you see what I did there? We're talking about Sporks, Mr. Spock, and space, and we got to think about here Mr. Elon Musk and SpaceX. The splashdown, as everybody called it, the splashdown. Yeah, taking us back almost like around about 50 years to when they did used to land after a space mission in a capsule in the ocean. Did you see it live?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. I'm not really. I'm not too interested in space, but I think it's fascinating that the private sector can do so much more. No, it's not fascinating. It's just true. The private sector it just again proves that government is useless.
Oh, hang on. It's all going a bit. It's very interesting, this one technically, but we'll persevere. It dropped out again. But you were saying that you are fascinated how these days in the private sector you have the opportunity now to go to space. It's not just a governmental thing. And if you've got enough bucks these days, I'm surprised. I don't. To the best of my knowledge, I know they're doing their Amazon. They got Amazon Prime, and I can't remember their new. It's almost like Amazon Yesterday, as I saw on one comedy sketch recently. Not too long ago. But they're delivering now by drones and getting it there almost within an hour or something. Your product, if you would, on Amazon.
They've been talking about this for a long time.
Oh yeah. It's all like the promo videos are up there. I think they're trying it out and have been for a while now already with certain customers. Beta testing, as they call it. Beta, we call it beta, and of course it's not just. I mean, that's a good example where the word's spelled the same. But if I said to beta, it's like the old days of VHS tape or Betamax. Of course, people. But what you mean Betamax?
Betamax, yes.
Beta, yeah. It's really honestly. But anyway, my point was that I'm surprised Amazon doesn't appear to be on the surface in the general media exploring space with all those billions of dollars. Maybe they are.
Well, there's nobody buying their products in space yet.
Well, yeah, that's probably why they've got NASA on the case looking for extraterrestrials that are in need. You know,
Oh,
who knows?
we're gonna go before that. We're
Really?
gonna go there. Yeah, of
Okay,
course.
where no man's been before.
Of course, we're going to. I
Yeah.
mean, this is my theory. I know I'm not the first one to have this theory, but anything the human mind can imagine or has imagined will happen in some way, shape, or form, and that's just the truth.
Yeah, that's quite concerning. I would have thought. Goodness knows what goes on in some people's minds. So yeah, but thanks for that insight there, Jimmie. Excellent
No,
stuff.
it's absolutely true.
Yeah.
If 100 years ago, if you told people that we were going to space, they would have thought you were crazy.
Well,
absolutely.
I don't think we have to go to space to. I tell you what, we don't have to go to space to be crazy. We are humans, so I think almost by definition, many of us are. Incidentally, I think we can just have a recap right now on what happened in the past week there at NASA and in the Atlantic Ocean. I think the Gulf of Mexico, wasn't it? Here we go. Are we going to see this? Oh no, I think the technology. I don't know. Let me just. Right, let's try it now. Is it going to happen or not? No.
Well,
no.
Time it.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's going to happen. It happened earlier on, didn't it? When we were just having a chat, you and I. Sorry, you were saying. I think it's.
As I look back on the mission that we've had here on the
you can see something.
Yes. Yeah. Now you turned it off.
I see nothing. That's strange. Sorry about this, guys and girls.
Play it.
Well, yeah, but it might only be you that's seeing it. Maybe not. Here we go. Let's play. Let's see.
It's okay. It's going now.
As I look back on the mission that we've had here on the International Space Station,
wow,
I'm proud to have been a part of much of the science activities that happened over the last 2 months.
Amazing.
I didn't think I would do another spacewalk, and to now have the chance to have done 4 more was just icing on the cake for a wonderful mission.
Does the 10th one feel like the first one? No, a little more comfortable on the 10th one.
It's hard to put into words just what it was like to be a part of this expedition, Expedition 63. It'll be kind of a memory that will last a lifetime for me. It's been a true honor.
Dragon SpaceX, undock sequence commanded.
Thrusters looking good.
The hardest part was getting us launched, but the most important part is bringing us home.
Rise and shine, Daddy, we love you. Hurry home so we can go get my dog.
Splashdown.
Welcome back to planet Earth, and thanks for flying SpaceX.
It's truly our honor and privilege.
Space Dads are back on Earth after a 19-hour return journey from space.
Splashdown.
Amazing. Anybody would want to go up there. It's a pioneer. To be a pioneer, it's just amazing. I'd be scared. I don't want to say it. Yeah, I'd be scared. You know, you're going to a place where that cannot support life, basically.
Well, you're putting your life in their hands as well at Mission Control, literally. And if anything, heaven forbid, as it did do years ago, didn't it, with the space shuttle? If anything goes wrong, then it's up to others. You cannot do anything to save yourself. And of course, just psychologically, I mean, this is, wow, what a conversation this is. But psychologically, you know, it's like you just react in a certain way, and often you don't know until something happens. And human behavior is very dependable on your circumstances and this immediate situation in an emergency, certainly. So you just don't know. I mean, they must rehearse for all of that at NASA. That's when we hear that they train to be astronauts. That's a good example, I guess. There you are.
There's always a possibility. I mean, compared to just living on Earth, there's a big possibility. There's always a possibility that something could go wrong, and to be able to not think about that or to go forward with that is an amazing thing.
Exactly. No, exactly. And as I say, it's you've got to be in a certain mindset to allow this to happen to yourself as well, because if you well, as I say, you're prepared to literally put your life in someone else's hands, it takes a certain person to do that.
Yes, absolutely. I think, well, a lot of these people probably, start early in life thinking about that.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know how many people are there accidentally.
Not many, exactly. It's just like you just took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say it's not the sort of career that you fall into. It's one of those that you're going to decide and aim for it. Everything you do is a step towards achieving that. I mean, look how many vacancies they're going to have. Not many on the planet.
Not many.
I just wonder how many people they have applying for roles like that when they come up. You work your way through the ranks, I'm sure, when it comes to.
Soon enough there will be was a lot of positions open. The unwanted position, you want to move to Mars is I think it's like the Australian situation,
right? Okay,
Australia situation. What?
How many years does it take to travel to Mars? I think it's quite a few. I think by the time you get to Mars, I think you've already retired anyway. Is that not right?
Well, I think you probably have to be a certain age. I think most of the crew is going to be very young. There's probably, of course, there are going to be a few older. Was it old timers too? A certain amount of adults have to accompany.
I think they'd rather be known as experienced than old timers, Jimmy. But I understand where you're coming from and get your point there. But yeah, absolutely, just got to qualify that. I'm sure that's what you meant, right? Someone experienced and mature and knows what they're doing.
Absolutely. Not. I'm not talking about living in space. I'm talking about as a human being. As a human being, mature. Yeah.
Well, hey, they've had dogs in space as well, haven't they? Had animals have been there. No doubt they've already got bugs up there and things like that at the moment. Well, they're still trying to find. This is it. No matter how small the life form is, that's what they're interested in at places like the space, NASA, the space agency.
Well, come on, of course there is. We're not gonna see them unless they want to be seen. Of course,
Area 51. Here we go.
Not only Area 51. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous if anyone thought otherwise. I mean, really, it's ridiculous to think that there is no life on other planets or in space. It's just too ridiculous to think that we are the only life forms in the universe.
Of course, this is a good one. I don't know how these links are coming. It's flowing very well because I was just realizing as you said that, of course, it goes to the question, what was there before the Big Bang? Where did all the matter and the material that went?
Wait. Now that's the Big Bang. Is that what you believe? I don't know if that.
I'm just suggesting that's what people say happened. But the point is, there's a whole load of matter here. But if you do believe in the Big Bang, and as you were saying there, there must be something else out there. Something must have created all this stuff. And so where did all this stuff come from, for that matter, if you really want to keep going? And again, it's a whole mind bender, even for those with their PhDs and all their degrees, the scientists.
Well, where
did the creator come from? There's the question.
I think a lot of us forget that probably most of us, when we were a child, laying in bed, 6, 7, 8, 9, that these are the things we thought about.
Yes.
How big is space? Who are we? These are the first things that I think a child starts thinking about when they're 6 or 7.
I've got to pick you up on one of those, okay? Because we actually carry this particular thing through, this question through, and it's very poignant. Certainly when you become a teenager, maybe in your early 20s, until you meet someone, people are busy out there, right? Socializing, COVID-19 sort of aside, not that we can put anything aside at the moment when it comes to that and being mindful about it. But yes, our usual normal in the past, socializing, and pubs, bars, restaurants, that sort of thing. Well, hold on a minute, but you just said, you asked yourself, who are we? Who are you? Who am I? This is the point. Someone comes up to you, or you go up to someone and get chatting, and they're basically asking you questions about who you are. So what do you do for a living, for work, and what do you believe in, and what do you like, all that stuff. But wait a minute. This person has the audacity, as I always say to people on this topic, they have the audacity to start telling you about themselves. And the truth is, I would say to you now, the truth is that most people don't even know themselves.
That's true.
It's
a journey.
It's certainly a journey. But I do think that often not enough people have paused and got to know themselves on the very basic level, such as what is it they're trying to achieve? You know, what are you trying to achieve, Jimmie?
Well, actually, let me tell you the truth. As a child, I had a very clear vision of what I wanted to do. I'm not going to say what it is because I just think this. I'm just going to be very general here. I knew what I wanted to do. I knew what I wanted to be. I knew what my ideas were. And as you get older, and life sets in, and life is not a clear path. You know, it's not. If you could just have your way and everything went your way exactly the way you planned it, of course, you're going to reach your goal. But that's not the way the world works. There are many. It's planets. They're all interacting with each other.
No, of course,
and these things change your course. So a lot of things become gray.
But there's absolutely, yeah, not just the aliens, but it's a very good point you make there. Of course, you set out on a path, but only with the tools you have at that specific time and the options that you have at that specific time. Because, oh, do you know something? I was waiting for that to happen here, actually. So that's a good reminder. Is that the bat phone there, Jimmie?
Well, this is a phone that this phone rang for the first time. I just moved here about a month ago,
right. At least
and I had a phone number that I decided to keep, which I don't really need.
Right.
But I decided for if there was any business I want to start, or was it or do that, it would be good to have a good landline, because many people think that because you have a landline, you're something now, because it's a rare thing. So I decided to keep it, and now it rang for the first time, but it only rang once. So
well, remember that we're just on that subject before we go back to where we were speaking about before it interrupted us. Is that you're right. Again, old school people. I think it has definitely changed now. But do you remember the days? Okay, so first of all, you had your landlines. Then, of course, along came your mobile phones, cell phones, and as they were starting to become more prevalent in the world. So first thing you'd do, you'd ring your friend or a business on the landline. And of course, then they don't answer, or there's an answer machine. So then you try the mobile, the cell number. But these days, do you ring the cell number first or the landline? Most people, I would suggest now, they're like, oh.
No. You do none of that. You send them an instant message.
You do that as well, or crystal ball.
No, it's very funny. People don't talk nowadays. Like, they rather you just message them, and this is a point that I can't really take. Like, okay, here's the thing: I want to schedule something, and people are writing messages back and forth, and I just rather just talk and get it over with.
Me too. No, absolutely. This is something I'd rather speak on the telephone. That's the whole point of the telephone. Just use it for efficiency. Just have that conversation with someone. It cuts to the chase, particularly in business. It gets clarification much quicker. I mean, for a start, you don't have any tone and sort of vocal ranges when you're
misunderstanding typing. Misunderstanding and typing is it's a tricky thing to communicate, especially now with the short form. Right. We're not talking about where kings and queens used to be writing letters to each other in like Napoleonic times, controlling the world. We're talking about very short, like, oh, what does he mean by that? Like, why did he capitalize all of it? Or
because he's shouting, that sort of thing. You're right, but
for some people that's not true.
No, but
it's
these
taken
days,
as shouting, yeah.
But we were talking about, as I say, the phone numbers. Which one do you call first? And you've got a landline because you're going back to, like I say, the old school way of thinking. It's kind of come back in a bit more now, because now people have a lot of people, like, they abandoned their landline. What do I need a landline for? I've got my mobile internet on my cell phone, mobile phone, as well as phone calls and SMS text messages and instant messengers. But then very quickly, the companies out there, the communications companies, were like, hey, we can get a landline for you for a big reduction in cost, and we can route it to your mobile cell phone as well. Well, you've been able to do that for quite a while with things like Skype, for example. But that's the funny thing as well. You've just said you've got a landline in case people want to call you and they feel a bit more reassured, because literally I think the psychology of that is, if you've got a landline, it's a physical line, copper wires into your building, right? So that means that you must be there. So if someone buys something from you, you're not going to suddenly run away with their money.
But that's not true now too, though. That's not exactly true nowadays either, though. Hello. I'm back. Did I lose you? Well, it looks like I lost Martin. How you doing, Martin? Where are we? So I guess it's just me. We're waiting for Martin. I think his internet got cut off or something, but I'm okay now.
Can you hear me, Jim?
Yes, I think you've got some problems on your side. I actually
this is
have
quite
been
incredible,
on.
actually, because sorry, I'm a bit. I say, hold on just a second. You're absolutely right. I just caught the end of your sentence there. So what happened was this is live video for you, but something very, very strange happened because the internet did get cut off, and because I've got I wouldn't normally do this so soon in the broadcast just because of everything going on here, and we're not set up ideally at the moment. But Jimmie, I saw him on the monitor over here because I was watching back what was going on as a confidence feed. There you are now, Jimmie, and I could see bizarrely because this technology we use is in the cloud. I'd got disconnected, but you carried on going, and we haven't spoken about this before. So hey, and then I didn't know if you realised you were still live, and this is kind of surreal to me.
I checked YouTube, and I'm still there, but you're not.
You did check it. Well, thank you for that. And as I say, so again, this is why people, for you guys and girls watching live out there, or as this was live, if you're watching the live replay on Facebook or YouTube, you will see the glitches and the raw thing. Whereas what we will do is we'll take the recording at some point and we'll tidy it up, and even this bit will probably be missing now. And then when we redistribute this elsewhere, people won't know that there was a glitch. How about it? But let me get back to the point. All things working there now, Jimmie?
Absolutely.
Good. So where are we? Where can I think I can pick up maybe I can pick up there. We were talking about the landlines and saying just how people's minds work psychologically. If they know, or you make them aware to the best of their knowledge that you have a landline, then as far as their brain's telling them, it means that you've got a physical line to a premises, and therefore if they've ever got a problem with something that they might buy from you, a service or a product, it means that they're not going to try and contact you and have no reply because you're not going anywhere anytime soon. And these days that's kind of changed because you can now, of course, have a virtual landline, an IP landline, and that means that it when someone calls it, it's just routed to your mobile phone or to another part of the planet for that matter. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So, well,
exactly. Yes.
Well, that's why I have a landline. I'm not necessarily not needing it right now, but I'm keeping.
But it's good to have on standby in the future because you never know. It's yeah. I'm surprised you haven't got one of those. With everything you're going into these days. The rotary dial.
Well, actually, I'm thinking about it because it doesn't ring anyway, so I might as well have something aesthetically beautiful to look at.
Yeah, right, and that's in your eyes. That's a telephone, right? Remember that, viewers. Okay, so there you go. Jimmie has a telephone.
And in England, it's called a telly. Oh, that's a television. That's correct, a television.
Yes. Don't get that wrong. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, the TV or the telly.
The telly, and then the phone is called what?
Just the phone. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and of course the other one we have television, TV, but slang would have been the box as well.
Oh, the box.
The box. Okay.
The tube.
The tube. That's one that even I almost had forgotten until you just. That's a big. Good reminder.
Yeah. Well, the reason I remember it because I'm thinking about tube amps. Because recently I've gotten into, I'm trying to get into, because of the staying at home trend, I need a new hobby. So I actually buying old amps, stereo amps, and I just bought a kit.
Okay, your soldering kit. That's right. Yes.
Soldering kit.
Yes.
So to fixing new amps, and now let me tell you a story. Now we're going off course here, but I need to tell you the story.
No, we're not. Well, going off course. It's on topic. We're talking about.
Well, Okay, well, here's the thing.
Tell us.
I stepped into a antique vintage audio store the other day, and of course, I already had the idea that I wanted to get a record player, which I bought. I bought like a 40-year-old record player. I bought a 45-year-old amp right now, but I stepped into as I said, a vintage antique audio equipment store. The prices were ridiculous, so I was a little bit scared. I could see through the window, but I needed to see, and I opened the door, and woof, wham! I was hit with the sound of music, and I think it was jazz. But it wasn't very loud. It was very low, but the thing is, it engulfed me, and I forgot. Like I realized, oh my God, I thought I had deja vu. I was like, wow, oh wow, this is what music sounded like. This is
should sound like, yeah.
Well, he had giant speakers. He had an old amp. And the thing is, I think we lost that. Of course, if you want a decent amp, you're going to pay a couple $1,000s now. During the 70s and 80s, an average amp had good sound. That's the difference. So now I want bigger speakers. I want an old amp, and I'm playing records. And the reason is the warmth. You actually listen to it. I think during the 90s, it became more compact, USB, iPod, MP3. And you know what? I think most people, well, the younger generation won't know, but you will know the music sound. It was not the music was different. The sound was different.
Warmer,
it was warm.
Much warmer.
It engulfed you. And the thing is, you would buy a record, you would call your friends and say, hey, let's listen to this record. Well, you would actually sit down and listen to it.
If you remember as well, something I'm glad I've just remembered, but back in the 1970s, hi-fi back then was silver, often in color. In fact, yeah,
back in the 1970s. Back in the 1970s.
Let's get a full shot of that one. Let's well, hey, Kiss Love Gun.
Yes.
If you're talking music, it's 70s music, definitely, bit of disco as well. But so back in the 70s, the hi-fi that you used to buy, the technology was the entertainment systems colored silver. Yeah, often, metallic silver. And then very quickly in the 80s, the sort of default became black.
Well, wait a second. Give me a second.
Between the 70s and the 80s. Go, carry on.
I'm going to show you what I actually recently bought, okay? How about that?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you do that. Is it close by or?
It's absolutely very close by, so that's what I'm going to show you right now.
Okay. Jimmy's going to go and show us what he bought recently.
How do I do that? I'm supposed to try to change
the point I was trying to make, though, was that after the 80s changed, they started to bring back, even now, silver hi-fi again and technology.
I can't. Okay, here. I can't. Can you see what I'm sharing here?
If I press the right button, we may be able to do something. I was trying this. I can see. Oh, right. Look at that. Yes.
So this is a Denon record player. This is probably about 40 years old.
Right.
What do I got there? I got the Billy Joel, the Stranger on it right now. At that moment in time, and of course, I got it for a good deal. But this is it's a professional level. Was it record player? It cost you hundreds and hundreds. Yes. So, and then here we go. This is the stereo amp that I bought. The first stereo amp. It has a few quirks and problems, which I'm going to learn how to. Was it a fix? So once I learn how to fix this, I'm going to the next level. This is a Sansui, made in Japan. Very rare. You don't find things made in UK, made in America, made in Japan at now, right? This time. Now, I'm going to ask you to guess within a 2-3 year range what year this amp is from. Integrated stereo amp. What year is this amp from?
I think it looks like at first glance, it would be the 1980s, would be my guess.
1980s, late 80s, mid 80s, beginning 80s.
I would suggest 1987.
Okay.
That would be my initial guess on that one.
Yeah.
And the reason is because of the gold volume and other knobs on it.
Well, actually, they're in between silver and gold.
Right. Yeah.
Now, okay. So now I'm going to tell you what year this is from.
Okay.
1976.
Really? I thought you were going to say it was earlier. Yeah.
You know why? Because it's cutting edge at the time.
Yes, I knew you were going to say that. I was going to say to you, I think that's because of the forward thinking of someone. And absolutely. But that's a nice piece of kit looking. I mean, a lot of people, you had to be matching. Initially I had a matching mini hi-fi system, all separates. And then you can, of course, add separate. Well, when a CD player came along, they never made it. So I had to go and buy a separate one and plug it up to
they used to have the sets with everything connected. That happened in the 80s.
Right.
Yeah. So that of course, you can get a lot of these on auction sites, which is what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and this is I didn't pay that much money. I think I bought the radio of the same system, the same series though, for about maybe $6. I'm gonna was that dollars? I'm gonna go with dollars here, about $60 for the
US dollars.
the US dollars, the amp and the radio. I'm working on fixing it, and if I can get this fixed and I get enough knowledge of fixing it, then I'm gonna buy what do you call a broken junk monitor? Was it stereo? Was it amplifier? Next level up.
Well, yeah, because you remember the separates were the tuner, the cassette player, the amplifier, often the preamplifier, and then the main amplifier, and of course the turntable. And do you remember? I thought it was great. I wanted one at the time just because I wanted one, but I had a turntable, and the really small ones, if you remember, they actually had the center where the record would go on the corner of the apparatus on the iPhone, and it was like a quarter, and the record would play. The 3/4 of it would go off of, outside the actual unit.
Well, let me tell you something. I don't need any of that. I really only want the power amp and the record player because I'm only playing LPs, basically.
Okay. Oh, Van Halen. Which one's that?
1984. 1984. Well, okay. So I just wanted to show you that album cover. That's all it was.
Great.
So the thing is that you're absolutely wrong. You're absolutely wrong. I'm gonna correct you here because you're thinking this is. You're thinking that's like modern, some kind of modern. It was like a modern in the 80s, I guess you're thinking.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
And you're absolutely wrong because now I'm going to show you something that's maybe blow your mind. It blew my mind, and I only discovered it a few months ago while I'm doing this search here.
Just having a little search. Okay, while you're doing that, we're going to have our mind blown there by Jimmy.
Yes, you're gonna. It was at I think
he's doing a bit of a search at the moment. Yeah, we'll leave you to your search. Tell us, let us know when you've found it, and we'll come back to you any moment now. Don't forget, everyone, you can follow us, and that means.
Well, here's okay. Here, no, let me see it.
I'm just going to remind people that next time you're wanting to join us live, if you're watching the replay, then certainly do follow us here on Facebook, on YouTube, and wherever you happen to be watching this chat from right now. Also follow on Twitter. That'll be good for the future as well. Jimmy, how are you doing there?
Well, I think it was called a Mickey phone, portable record player. Okay.
Right.
I'm going to show you my simple Google search here.
Yes.
Share screen. Here we go. And this is from the 1920s, I'm thinking. 1926 here. I'm sharing it here.
There we go. Yeah. Okay. Lovely. We see the screen. What are we looking at?
It's a record player. It's a shape of a can, a little tiny can. It's probably the size of a tuna fish can, maybe a little bit bigger. It's a record player.
Actually, that's a record player. You're reminding me very quickly that in the UK, I don't remember what year it was. It was a long time ago. They had a stamp, and the stamp was a vinyl record or a plastic record.
HMV?
And I cannot remember for the life of me much
Oh no,
about
no,
it.
you mean talking about Victor? You're talking about RCA Victor? Victor?
Can't remember, but as I say, the stamp, the Royal Mail, who is the postal
Oh, the
service.
Royal
Yeah,
Mail. Oh, the stamp.
yes.
Okay.
They had an actual postage stamp, and it's a record. It must be worth a lot of money now.
Wow.
But yeah, we'll have to check that out offline.
Wait a minute. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this thing. Look at
What
this
are we
thing.
looking
This
at?
is,
What are we, what's going on?
this. Can you see it? This is the record player.
Just I can see. Yeah, if you maybe, yeah.
Can
I
you
was gonna
see
say
it?
Make it bigger, but it's not easy for you to. Yeah, we can see that. It's on the screen there.
Let's see if
Everyone's
I can make
looking.
it bigger.
Yeah.
This says 19. This says a Mickey phone from 1926.
Right.
So it's a little can, and it opens up into a record player.
That is incredible, isn't it? You see, that
1920s.
Going back to what you were saying before, you see, often people think that something's a new innovation. It's almost like a record that comes out now, and they think, oh yeah, that's great. But the truth is, it's a cover. Right. Oh well, thank you for that. Where are we going now? Going back on there. That's it. That's pretty amazing stuff there. You see.
Yeah.
Wow.
I actually discovered it a few months ago while I'm on this journey of going back into records. Basically, I got rid of all my records. I had 1,000 records growing up, and got rid of them all. Don't need it.
A lot of people did, and that's the point. Going back to what you were saying before, and I didn't have the opportunity to say, how technology apparently evolves and becomes better, improvements, and it's more convenient. That's what a lot of things about. We're all about convenience, but people are realizing now that convenience can often, particularly with lockdown, and you wanted to talk COVID. Hey, and there you go, another link onto COVID.
Well, that's my COVID. My COVID hobby is this right now.
Right,
the records.
But a lot of people have realized they've taken stock of what's going on in their life, and what's important, what's not, and what is meaningful and what's not. That sort of thing. And there we are. You see, you yourself know, you were saying how you buy a vinyl record and you want to play it, so you got to clean the thing first. You take it out the sleeve, you look at
it's
the
a
sleeve,
ritual. It's a ritual.
It's a ritual. Yeah, there you go. It's certainly something that every step of the way is important. You want to hear a clean record without any crackles, and if you get the
some of the crackles are good. Some of the crackles give a taste.
So these days, very quickly it went MP3, WAV went down to MP3s,
USB, iPod, smaller, compact. How small I can get it. Yes, it's very convenient. It's very convenient.
What happened with me, you see, now it's interesting you say, because, with me, the problem was at the time I started ripping my CDs to MP3 and trying to compress them, so I fit them all in on my computer, on my personal device. But of course, that meant that I did have to compress them significantly, and I had to do that because at the time, hard drives, who'd ever heard of a 1 terabyte or larger hard drive? That hard drive space was very expensive, and so I needed to squash these down as best as possible, but without totally ruining the sound. And I did, and that was great. But then now we've got the significant price reductions now on storage. It's huge. So now I don't need to have files that are squashed so much. So I'm having to re-rip the CDs and eventually vinyl, the odd few that I have remaining, to a better file format that isn't compressed, such as WAV, and the like.
Okay, that's great. You can have all your files, but I'm going to suggest something to you. Forget your saving it, filing. Get the album, so you sit there and you're listening to the record.
Yep.
And then you get to, this is the Japanese cover, and you get to look at the cover of Billy Joel's The Stranger as it's playing.
Yes. I love the fact
vinyl.
Interesting that you show us that Japanese version, because you always have, it seems to me, the Japanese on the left hand side, so the original, just to the right, in large form, and I see that all the time on particularly Japanese CDs.
Well, they got to explain it. They give it a little more explanation.
Right.
Yeah, a little bit more explanation. And the point is that, forget about your files. I'm telling you, this is the way to listen to music. Big speakers, amplifier.
How do I feel like I'm on the move, Jimmy? That's the thing. But then, yeah, I'm not going to be able to stick a turntable record player in my pocket so easily. I guess unless we go back to the Mika. You're showing us earlier on that device from the 19.
The Mickey phone. Well, the thing is, yeah, it's the listening experience is completely different. You don't I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it's a little bit different from younger people because they don't know. They haven't experienced this, but listening to music is a completely different thing. You don't listen to music; it's just there. It's not like a real deep listening experience. Of course, I shouldn't say that. For young people, it probably is. It's an age thing too, but to experience this and being engulfed in this kind of sound is crazy. It's close to a live experience. It's much closer to a live experience.
Of course it is, but they have to be bothered to listen to what you're saying and go and purchase that additional equipment, or at least find a friend maybe that has some vinyl records and a record player turntable to see the difference, because it's one of those things that until you've been able to compare, you just wouldn't know, and you wouldn't believe it often how warm. And of course a good set of speakers as well. In the UK, one make that they're still around, Wharfdale, they've produced some great speakers over the years, and I'm just trying to think of, there's another brand as well, and I'm familiar with, called Castle.
Okay.
And Castle were renowned for good speakers as well. Then you've got, and they're in a different league as well to what DJs would class as quality, disco DJ equipments. I mean, there's a big brand, JBL, they're known everywhere. They're good speakers and everything and all. But
they're actually I'm looking for speakers now, and I'm looking for vintage speakers, obviously, big cabinets, but JBL is at the top of the list. JBL is at the top of the list.
But as you just mentioned the word cabinet, good point. Yeah, we're not going to forget that, because a decent cabinet, often made of wood, brilliant. The warmth that comes from that, and
large,
the
very large
inside as well. Right. Yeah. Well, yes.
The larger the cone, I mean, sure, you can get good sound from a small cone now. They have these little tiny speakers that have amazing sound, but you're not going to get the warmth.
No,
that you get from a large cone.
No, you've got to decide: do you want convenience or do you want quality? And then, of course, there's bits, somewhere along the scale in the middle of all that, to balance it.
Yeah.
But what we've been talking about here is up in your game if you want quality, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff. I mean, can I just mention as well, digital radio now, DAB. I mean, come on, it's just not as good as FM radio. They are sampling bits of the the musical spectrum to fit it into a space, just like CDs. Okay, when you listen to it, it's not a continuous sound, is the truth. And it's a bit like with your eyes as well. You can only see certain quality, so after a while it kind of doesn't matter how many pixels you've got, you will not see improvements any longer. I don't know what manufacturers are going to do then, because they keep trying to sell us this 4K 16K, well 4.8 16.
Well, I'm gonna have to. Well, the thing is, like, okay, there's I think there's a price, there's a gap, there's a canyon. There's not a gap, a canyon, where now I have a 4K TV. It's not an expensive 4K TV. It's actually on the cheap end. It's decent. It's enough for me. But of course, if I go to the electronics store, the large electronics stores that have a big selection of TVs, now I'm talking about a range of about, I'm going to use dollars here. I mean, U.S. dollars. Is that okay?
US dollars. Yeah.
$1,000, $1,000, $1,000, $1,500, $1,000 to $1,500. It's a good, decent TV. But then once you get past like $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, it looks like you could actually jump into the screen.
Of course. Yes, I saw that. And now we were talking before about what year do you think this was, and this idea and invention. I tell you now, I saw, I'm just trying to remember, it was the late 90s, I think, a VTR machine videotape recorder. It looked like one of those Revox reel-to-reel tape machines, the audio ones, BP77s or something. And this video device, it was playing on a screen then, and it looked like I was peering out the window. It was almost surreal, and I had to do a double take. I had to look up to make sure, I'm still in the room, I'm still in the exhibition hall, and it was incredible. And I didn't see that replicated until years later, or at least something close to it. It was better than 4K to the best of my knowledge. Although that said, at the time there was no HD, so I was comparing standard definition television back then to something just out this world. And yeah, here we are now. But you know what I always say though, really, you've got to stop somewhere, because and say enough's enough. I have HD, a couple of 4K devices, but really, if you want 4K, 8K, certainly 16K, just open the front door, get out in the real world, and start putting one foot in front of the other. So yeah, it's all nice to have, but very expensive still at the moment. South Korea, of course, is a leader when it comes to ultra high definition
at the moment. Samsung.
Yeah, that's the way to go. Hey, do you know what? Time flies when we're having fun, Jimmy. And we've already been here for an hour. Wow. I hope we've had a big cup of coffee, people watching and listening to this. They're probably gasping for more now, almost like we will be with all this talking. What I want to do, though, while we're on the topic of hi-fi, again, good link, moving on to the topic of radio. I was listening this week to a radio station that I frequently have on here while I'm working away. And I wanted you to hear this, Jimmy, because I think this is I think my favorite call ever.
Let's bring it on.
It certainly is the favorite call of the presenter. It's a good 5 minutes long, but it just is a moment that for me, and clearly for others that were commenting very, very fast as it was happening on Twitter, particularly, it's very clear why this is a stop and think moment. And I'll just play it. Yeah, there we are.
Danny is in Ealing. Danny, question or answer?
Question, please.
Carry on, Danny.
I want to ask 2 questions, please.
Oh, okay, mate. Seeing as it's you, how old are you?
8.
Oh well, in that case, you're allowed to ask 2 questions.
Where do robins originate from?
Yeah.
And do robins migrate?
That's a lovely question, actually. It's in a way, it's one question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's both about robins and it's about where they come from and where do they go. Are they your favourite bird?
Yes, and my mum's.
Why are they so friendly, Danny? Do you know?
I don't know.
They're the friendliest. Go on.
I think it's because they're red breasts.
That just gives them a bit more confidence, maybe, or it makes us like them more. But I can never quite believe how brave they are. Most birds, as soon as you go in the garden, they fly off as if you're a cat. But with a robin, sometimes when I'm sitting outside in the garden, there's a little robin that lands on the corner of the table, and I think if I had a bit more patience, Danny, and maybe a couple of peanuts, I could get him to come onto my finger.
Also, they sing.
They do have beautiful songs.
They have very nice singing voices.
They have lovely singing voices. They really do. Have you got a robin that comes into your garden, or do you see one?
Yeah, we have our robin that goes everywhere with us.
Do you really?
Yeah, we have a robin that goes to Ireland with us. We've got a robin that goes to home with us. We've got a robin that goes to the park with us. We've got robins everywhere.
Oh, that's fantastic, isn't it? I love robins. Let's get you an answer. Where do they come from originally, and do they migrate? We need both of those questions answering, and we need them answering ASAP. Thank you, Danny.
Yeah, thank you. We also listen to your show every day.
Do you? Well, then I can only apologise. Do you find it, and don't tell me the truth, Danny, do you find it quite boring most of the time?
Nope.
Promise?
Yes.
Well, you're my favourite, Danny.
I also learn about the coronavirus and all.
You do, and you don't find yourself getting a bit...
And Brexit.
Well, flipping heck, Danny. Would you like a round of applause for being a top lad?
Yes. Also...
Oh, yes.
Also, on LBC,
Careful.
I always keep telling Dad, because most of the time the question hours are packed up with children, and I've always been like, Dad, what about question hours? So I keep dialing in, and I was like, that someone's already on the line, and I'm like, honestly, why can't I go?
And this week you got through, so have you been trying pretty much since lockdown started to get through on Mystery Hour?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you did. Have you got any tips for other 8-year-olds listening who are thinking, Danny's right, Danny's right, I rang in last week and I rang in this week? What's the secret of getting on the radio, Danny?
The secret is to enjoy the radio and to just listen to all the questions and answers to the radio, and to listen to it like the breakfast show and all that.
Well, hang on.
Dialing in.
Whoa, hang on a minute. Can I have a quick word with your mum?
Hello.
You must be extremely proud of your little boy.
Oh, I am very much so.
What
we always listen to you, and he's very upset that he hasn't managed to.
Well, he's here now.
Go online. So, and he loves robins, and he was thinking that he knew that you'd be able to answer.
Well, he's a magnet. Well, I can't answer this one, but I'll find it. I promise you, I'll find someone that can, even if it kills me. What does he want to be when he grows up, Mum?
I want to be like a teacher.
He wants to be a teacher.
So I heard. So I gathered. I'm trying to think.
He's definitely old before he's...
I'm going to be a mixed teacher.
Danny, you, my friend, are an absolute star. And if anyone ever doubts it, tell them that the boring bloke on the radio said you are a star, so it must be true, okay?
Okay.
You look after yourself. 12:26 is the time.
12:26 is the time.
Well, there we go. That was Danny on London's LBC. Oh, hang on. He wants a second play. No. There we go. That was Danny on London's LBC radio that I was listening to this week. What do you think of that, Jimmy?
Yeah, great. But I wanted the answer.
You want the answer? Yes. It was an answer. And, well, I guess we'll have to now get back to our old friend, the search engine, if we need to know. Yeah. But I opened up so many questions. But Danny, once again, had well, there you are, some more airtime courtesy of ShineCast, and as James O'Brien rightly suggested, his mother must be very proud of him, and be interesting to catch up in. Well, everybody was like, give him his own show, give him his regular spot, and I would suggest that he speaks well, certainly better than some of your students do right now. Maybe there you are. Maybe he can teach English as well. But I just thought
Japan is a very interesting situation because most countries in Asia do speak English. A lot of people speak English, and Japanese don't speak as well, because they have quite a large population and their internet is quite big. So they'd have, I base a lot of the modern communication on the internet, and that's just the way it is.
Wait. Did you say that the Japanese, their internet is very big?
It's quite big. There
was my internet?
Well, you understand, they're web. The information on in the Japanese language web and the internet is quite large. So they don't need to go outside of that to get knowledge. They have enough entertainment. They have enough, information to stay within that Japanese ecosystem.
Unhealthy. This is what we're talking about. But I realize it's for learning, that sort of thing, it's great. But in fact, that's another point that now we're realizing that we're having to, whereas before you had to make time to get on a computer and actually be mindful about doing that and making time. Now we've got to make time to get off the computer because everything's on it for most, well, as I say, particularly all the the new generation.
Well, actually, and I'm working on it. I work on it. Like, my job is I'm sitting in front of my computer a good, 8 to 9 hours a day. I do have breaks in between. And then I'm coming on here.
And you're on ShineCast just to sort of, well, someone used the word chill and just to, relax and certainly just, spread the knowledge and have a good chat. But it's still online in front of a camera. And
but I'm talking with you. But I'm talking with you in London, so that's a big thing. And here's an interesting thing: I'm teaching English, but I'm teaching. Actually, I had a student in India today. Next week, I have a student that's in Chicago.
Right,
so,
USA.
And I'm teaching. Was it globally?
It sounds like you're sleep teaching with the time zone difference. It sounds like with the time zone difference and the fact that you're speaking and teaching with people in any part of the world that you might be even sleep teaching.
Well, no. There's the ability to adjust. We're adjusting now. I'm late. Was it a late afternoon? Was it late at night? There's a way to adjust, but it's a very interesting. Like now, I think a lot of work, a lot of jobs, a lot of offices. I think during the first wave of this COVID, people were starting to telework, and even in Japan, they were teleworking, and they thought it was going to go down for a bit, and they stopped. And I think it's what they need to do is continue to perfect this teleworking system, because this is the future. I think another thing is that the office space is becoming unnecessary. A lot of office space. So
this is what they're realizing very fast now. You
there
see,
should be
our government have been. Originally, it was like stay at home, don't go out, lockdown, and then it was if you feel like going back to work when they were easing the lockdown, it's like go back to work if you feel that it's safe enough to do so, etc., etc. But now the government's telling people to go back to work because the sandwich stores and some of the retail that is local to the inner city, the actual centre of the city, and those busy the areas that are supposed to be busy and were previously, they're all empty, and the economy is suffering. But the point is, why is
it's changing? It's changing. It's not.
Well, thank you. This is a change, in my opinion, that should have happened some time ago. It was inevitable.
Actually, it's a positive change. It's an actual positive change.
Yes, I agree. But it should have happened much earlier, a decade ago, and
absolutely
we could have had this crossover period that was much more gradual. Unfortunately, now instead of everyone having a piece of the pie, basically, and a gradual change of people being able to adjust their business model, now you've got the problem where the change is stark and very simple. It's survival of the fittest. So if you've got 100 stores, 25 are going to survive, and the other 75 and businesses
Martin, let me tell you something. This is your age.
Right.
This is the age that you have been, incubating, waiting, sitting on, trying to get started, wouldn't move, and now it's here. This is your age.
Absolutely. I mean, I've tried to educate people as well as provide service.
This is what you've been waiting for.
And online. What it is, I mean, absolutely. And of course, video online has become much more prevalent, I would say, over the last 5 years or so. We're ready. And as you know, actually, Jimmy, as you very well know, part of this, the fact on ShineCast, we will be talking to various people that need the exposure for their business, their service, their product themselves, because it's amazing how many people have been shy as well. They're like, oh no, the internet, I can't possibly talk to a camera and people out there who I don't know. Yet, as I've said plenty of times before,
good lighting is very important.
Did you just notice that? It's very funny you should say that. Yeah.
Your lighting is great. It's very warm.
Yeah, well, it's warm.
Look at you. Lightening yourself up.
Yeah, absolutely. But
you're looking great. You're looking great.
Right, a bit orange. There you go. But as I say, a lot of people, they have this inhibition of talking to people. You know why? Because they can't see them. It's like a one-way thing. In this case, I can see you, but we can't see at the moment the majority of people that will hopefully be watching this material. But
as far as I'm concerned, nobody's watching it right now, so I'm fine.
But the business people are quite happy, the stores, for any stranger to walk through the door. They still don't know who the average person is, particularly in a city. Okay, local businesses in a small town or village, yes, you do know. But you can't turn any business away or any interest in you or your product and service. So I'm just concerned that a lot of people, that their own inhibitions, have got to understand why. It's no different the scenario of not knowing who's watching here.
Unfortunately, it's survival of the fittest, and it's coming down. I hate that. I hate that phrase, but
I do too.
What's happening now is like it's either you are, and it's not. You don't have to be that much smarter than anybody else, but it's either your internet, a little bit internet, web, computer, and you don't need any knowledge to be computer savvy these days, as compared to 15 years ago.
A lot of people still are frightened of the technology. A lot of people, it's not just an excuse. It is partly a good reason, but I would suggest on balance, it's more of a procrastination. A lot of people say, I haven't got time for the internet. I'll give an example, right? Okay, so if you've got one of these stores, a thrift store, charity store, right? A secondhand store. So they have items in, and I say to a lot of people, why don't you have a website? Oh, because
online. Well, they don't even need a website. They can just, there is many auction sites that accompany that.
You're jumping ahead there. That's exactly what I'm going to say. They can't have a website, they say, because if they put their stock online, everything's unique. They've only got one of those products. So as soon as it sells, they have to update the website, and they're like, oh, it's going to be a full-time job, and they're busy enough running their store. Okay, fine, I get that. But then turn to video like QVC and other shopping channels. And that's exactly, it's a shameless plug, that's exactly what we're going to be offering here.
A disclaimer is fine.
A disclaimer, how do you mean?
Well, because I'm was it buying stuff online a lot. I buy a lot of stuff on auction sites.
Yep.
And some items are listed as this is on auction, but it's listed on other sites for a certain price. Now, if that item is bought on another site, this becomes void. Unfortunately, but that's the truth.
Absolutely. No, I got you. So if you're talking about displaying the same item on multiple platforms, and if it goes on one, it's not
absolutely.
No, but if my point is as well, if you structure your business model in the right way, there are plenty of people now who are selling online using video, okay, and you can do it instantly. But the point is, if you've got individual products, just do it. It doesn't have to be live. It could be recorded. But that's the point. Use your Instagram, use your Facebook, and just you don't want to start programming your website and getting onto the. Just get online and go live and say, hey guys, I just had this product come in. It's $5 in the thrift store if you want it. Just call us now on our regular number, or directly PayPal us now at this. PayPal.
Absolutely. Let me tell you something. It's very interesting. So 20 years ago.
Yep.
20 years ago, you would have an item. You would have a screw for a broken machine that you can't use, but the screw was in perfect condition. But this screw only goes to this one machine. You couldn't find a customer. Now the customer looks for you. You can sell a screw for a specific machine, and you wouldn't know who to sell it to you live around you, but somewhere in the world, somebody wants that screw. And this actually happened to me. I was collecting. For some reason, I was collecting vintage and antique sewing machines. I'm talking about sewing machines from the 1800s. And they used to have something called a rocket spindle. A rocket spindle. Now it's a spool. It's just called a rocket spindle, and I couldn't find one. I couldn't find one for my. I think it was called a rocket spindle. Let me check here. Yeah, sewing machine, a rocket spindle sewing machine. So I couldn't find. This is from a 1880s machine, a Singer from 1880s, 1890s. It had Egyptian, was it a Sphinx on it? It was called the Sphinx. I couldn't find this rocket spindle. You know where I bought it? I was in Los Angeles. You know where I found it? I bought it. No, I bought it. This is about 15 to 20 years ago. I bought it online on eBay from somebody in Bulgaria, and I was in Los Angeles.
Again, do you know what happens there often? Certainly American import cars in the UK, if you need a spare part, you're going to speak to someone who's got a trash yard, a breaker's yard in Arizona in the desert somewhere, some little town.
It's amazing.
Nowhere. And that's what the internet's now done as well. It's made it much smaller.
And it's connecting us all. It's connecting everybody. Exactly. It's amazing.
Yeah. Fascinating. Wow. Yeah, no, that is it. Now, if you need something, it is definitely out there online. But again,
and there's somebody trying to sell it.
No, absolutely.
Somebody has it.
The reason we got onto this topic was I just want to bring it back to what I was saying about how the government at the moment are trying to force people back into the office to make that hour and a half, maybe 2 hour journey in and then out again. Some people have to do those long journeys, maybe not every day of the week.
For tax purposes?
No, well, number one, the public transportation system cannot fund itself. It's losing millions and has done. It's oh my goodness, and they've been bailed out already by the government, but still,
no, not by the government, by the tax.
Well, by the taxpayer. Yeah, exactly.
The government does nothing. Let's remember this.
It's a very good reminder, Jimmy, because when I hear that on the radio, I have to second think that yeah, it's a thought. And a lot of people don't. If we're busy, exactly, you just leave it at the government. But yeah, us, right? Absolutely. So, and of course, they're going to get all their money back eventually through taxation. That's the only way these billions of dollars, pounds, yen, and euros are going to be recovered by governments from us. And people haven't even if we did start thinking about that now, I think a lot of people
trying to save a system that doesn't work in the modern world is
right.
wrong. It's changing. The system is changing, and you know what? If they can't make the public transportation more efficient, cheaper or efficient, then it doesn't deserve to live. It needs to change. It needs to change. Everything needs to change.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, so again, just to complete that point, is the government are literally they are shouting in quotation marks at us now to return to the office in the city where you used to work if you have a full-time job in such an environment, because then you can help the economy get back on its feet again. But a lot of people have realized, as you were saying before,
the government foresees nothing. They see nothing. They cannot see. It's private. It's private enterprise. It's private enterprise. It's always going to rule and always lead the way. Now, lots of restaurants, food services. I mean, I love eating out. I love eating out. So these places have to offer a different kind of service.
They have
more
done.
access.
Just tell you.
Yes, exactly.
This isn't what you're thinking. No. There's a new scheme here. It's called Eat Out to Help Out, and through this month of August 2020, as we're live and as I'm saying this, for those that are watching in 10 years' time and beyond, well, the government, because of the COVID situation, have put into place now a scheme where certain restaurants and bars and pubs sign up if they're selling food, and on a Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, okay, for the month of August, you can have a discount on your food. It's up to £10, so that's about what US dollars these days, $12.50, and it's just to try and get to stimulate the economy and to encourage people to go out and eat. But I'm not being funny, Jimmy. I love to go out and eat as well, and socialize. But right now, I don't mind putting all that on hold and instead making sure that I'm healthy, so that in 12 months' time, when there is a vaccine, we can all go out again, happy days, and we're well enough to do so.
Well, let me tell you, I'm not taking that vaccine. But anyway, yes.
Right.
I agree with you halfway. I'm not going with the vaccine. But let me tell you something. Delivery systems. The delivery systems. I mean, I don't know how it is in London, but here, the Uber Eats is growing like crazy, and not only Uber Eats, other delivery systems. So people who have restaurants and they are not offering delivery, they are losing. This is the new age. This is what you have to do to survive. And of course, I want to go out and eat. I want to go to the restaurant, but the point is that you have to adapt. This is a new system. This is a new way.
Listen, there's a lot of restaurants where there's a park across the street, so it wouldn't hurt them, okay, to and particularly in the sunshine, the awesome sunshine they've been experiencing here over the last few weeks here, certainly in England. What has stopped them advertising that they will deliver from the store a few hundred yards across the street or next door to where they are, a park, to a green area, and just getting your marketing right, which is certainly not rocket science, even if they have to go back to old school and print a few flyers, leaflets, and hand them out. And people will be texting like on a day like this for their water or anything a bit more sophisticated, rather than just melting there in the heat. It's a no-brainer. But as you said, businesses need to reorganize themselves, restructure. Now, today, if someone wants to start a restaurant, they have to have in the business plan delivery, as you said. It's just like in the old days, when you used to say buy a property or move to a new location, the questions: do you have water, gas, central heating for the winter, air conditioning if you're in a country that where that prevails these days in homes. It doesn't these days in the UK. Still, I would say the majority of homes do not have AC air conditioning. Buy a portable device, but so my point there is that originally cable TV and satellite was a luxury. It wasn't really on that list, or far from the top of it. Now everyone has it, and it's just now just considered to be, oh yeah, there's nothing unusual about paying over the top to keep that service running monthly, Netflix, etc., etc. So now the model of living rather than just surviving, and having a life, a quality life. Part of it is oh yeah, can my pay packet afford to have Netflix? In the same way, yeah, more to the point, businesses now need to be thinking different ways and new ways, particularly because of COVID-19, and who would have thought? I mean, this is the point. You need to be prepared always for the unexpected and ready to act and react. And I think that there are some places out there that they've done tremendously. There are some people out there who have changed to becoming delivery services, and they've said they won't go back to they're probably closing their restaurant just because the delivery service at the moment is more profitable for them.
And maybe that's what they were meant to do to begin with. I mean, I like some restaurants. I like the mood. I want to go to like certain restaurants, but yeah, some things can be delivery. I'm one of the fortunate ones.
Yes.
When COVID started, a lot of people were losing business, and
still are. Or well,
yeah,
a lot of them are closed, but
I have to say I'm not rich. I'm not making a ton of money, but as far as being online, my business has increased incrementally, a little small bit, because I am online.
You wouldn't be talking to these new clients and customers who are in Chicago and other places around the world if it wasn't for online. That's
exactly.
The point. And can I just say, again, this is actually, there's a tenuous link here. I was going to say that's okay because you'd get more local business, because that means that the business is doing what you do in Chicago. They'd be focusing on their little area and region because their customers couldn't reach out to Japan. But in the same way, that's exactly what's going on. I was saying earlier about how the government want people to go back into the cities to spend their money. Well, people are still spending their money. They're just not spending it on businesses that are located in the city. And the problem is that in certain areas of the city, there's no residential areas where people are working from home, and those people would then be funding the businesses in the immediate area. So people are staying in the suburbs and further out and spending money in towns and villages and other areas. So that's still a good thing, because otherwise, if they weren't at home now, then those businesses in their locality where they live, the businesses there will be suffering. So you can't have your cake and eat it. And in fact, in some ways, I mean, the local high street was suffering tremendously before COVID. Yes, it still is, and obviously suffered like all businesses across the country and countries when lockdown took place. But as I say, it's almost like we're trying to now get 150% out of 100%, and it's not going to happen. There are going to be a lot of losers. There'll be some people that pull through and continue to survive and do business, etc. And there'll be others that are new on the scene, and they'll be finding better, more efficient ways to run their business and service and products. So that's all good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Jimmie, I'm looking at the time here. We're going to have to call it a day. Otherwise, we'll be calling it another day before. Well, for you, it is.
Well, it's another day. I'm in another day.
Yeah. What day is it? It's Saturday there now.
Saturday.
Yeah.
107.
1:07 a.m. on Saturday, the 8th of August for you.
8th of August. That's right.
Yeah. Month is going fast already. You see, I knew it. Listen, middle of next week, another 4 or 5 days. It's crazy. The month is just disappearing. And you know what? We're going to have to come back. That means we're just going to have so much more to chat. What didn't we mention? Or we meant there was something you didn't want to mention, so we're not going to mention it. You know that thing we didn't mention? The interview.
Absolutely. Well, I don't think it's a little too early to get political in our show here.
For sure. Oh yeah, but it was a good moment. It was a good debate. It was a good interaction. One person interviewing another, interrogating, questioning another, and the subject not really knowing how to answer, other than in his own way that could potentially, some would say, be considered deluded.
Well, I'm going to disagree. I mean, I understand his delivery was bad, but I am going to disagree with the content of the material. So,
right. So you think that the delivery was bad in the responses? Well, hey, why break a habit of a lifetime? Some would say, and consistency is good.
Well, I'm going to say that I am very happy with how he has been communicating with the outside world, and that was the reason I voted Let's end it at that.
Yeah, I think you're right. Actually, yes, I was going to comment, but no. Again, if you've enjoyed this, everyone, I certainly have. Jimmy certainly has.
Yes, I have, and I know we have no subjects, but as for now,
what do you mean? What do you mean we have no? Excuse me. I hope you watch the replay and realise that we've been on here now for something around about 1 hour and 40 minutes. Believe it or not. Time does fly when you're certainly talking about things that you're passionate about, Jimmy, and knowledgeable about, and also that we want to share with other people and have them involved so that they can benefit from the knowledge and the experiences. And yeah, awesome stuff.
Well, now that we're
go on.
It's just two of us, so like an hour and a half seems. Yeah, I think in the future it might get longer.
Well, yeah, we're going to be a 24-hour. Well, again, a lot of people don't realise, but as well as professionally, I am. Well, we're working on a business and businesses that will be benefiting from live streaming, and that's what this is all about. No coincidence that we're doing this. All right. I will take the opportunity to remind people here. ShineCast will be talking to people, plenty of people over the weeks, months, and hopefully forever and beyond, and to Affinity, that's the one, and beyond, about their businesses, services, and products. We've also have the platform that will be launching soon, and be more prevalent, called Hello Goodbye. That's more to do with stores that will be speaking with people about their services. And then, of course, there's my personal streams as well. I've got to get those more regularly out there and be engaging with you guys and girls more regularly, because certainly I know you want me to share where I'm heading to. Why
don't you tell us about that next week? Why don't you tell us about this?
I will absolutely, and I will just close with reminding people of the beach, how it is outside at the moment. I don't know. Oh, yeah, there we go. Nicely cutting me off there.
But so many people out there in COVID.
I'm telling you, yeah, absolutely. But
COVID weather.
They're relatively behaving themselves at the moment in the Thanet area of Kent. Listen, thank you for joining me, Jimmy, once again. Thanks to everybody else.
Thank you.
I think Jimmy's about to say goodbye, and then we can roll the titles. Until next time. And if you've got any comments and questions, you don't need to be watching live. We'd love you to join in live. But if you're not watching live, then you can always, oh my goodness me, Jimmy, do you know what? We nearly ended without just reminding you that someone has been watching, you see. And that's a regular follower of mine. And in fact, she said hello a little while ago, did Brenda, along with a goodbye right now. So thanks for watching live, Brenda. And we have got a couple of viewers on there at the moment. And, as I say, the fact is that they need to be notified. And if they're not following, they're not being notified, and they're discovering us. And then the more they discover and follow, then they'll be notified to join in the live. And as I say, if you're out there and want to ask any questions going forward, then do so on the comments.
Hi, Brenda.
We'll pick up on, there you go, you see.
I had to say hi because she's saying hi to me. So
no, absolutely. That was the point as well. I didn't expect you to ignore her, and if you had done, then I would have given you a kick of the proverbial metaphor.
How do I guess I only can talk to her. I can't type to her, huh?
That's correct. Well, you can talk back to her, and she'll. And if she wants to join in, you see, in the future, very, very soon, people will be able to use the link that will be there for them. It's not that. Well, no, that's not me. No. If you hang on, we could do two things here. I guess we could do that just to get that right, and then of course, that's definitely Jimmie Heaven there, and. You see, if you're not careful and start pressing too much buttons, it gets confusing. I was going to say that if people want to join us in the future, they'll be able to go to a URL a little bit like that, but it'll probably be more like shinecast.live/join. That's the one people join me on when I'm live personally, etc., etc. Do you see how long it takes to say goodbye on these sort of things as well? Crazy. That's why it's good. Before you start, you've got to start wrapping up, really. Anyway. Oh, look, there you are. She's definitely got the fingers working there on the keyboard. I've enjoyed your conversation. That's good to know. Thank you, Brenda. We've enjoyed the fact that you've been there enjoying our conversation. And indeed, in the future, hopefully, we'll have some callers in. That'll be probably, I don't know, realistically in a few weeks' time, if not before, but I think so. Jimmy, I better press the magic button here. Otherwise, it'll just carry on. And then people as I say, they'll be crawling to sleep themselves. You're going to be going to sleep soon as well, aren't you? So that's good. But they'll be
I'm wide awake. What are you talking about?
in their
This
eyes.
conversation has got me fired up, and I haven't finished my wine yet.
Right. Well, maybe Jimmy's going to proverbially. I've used that word. No, and that's not. I don't know why it's on my mind. No, I was going to say metaphorically, go out clubbing now. But thank you very much for joining us there from Japan, Jimmie Heaven, as always. Until next time, stay safe there, and you stay safe. Thank you very much. Everybody else out there, you stay safe. I guess he's still on the line there after hearing that. Goodbye for now from me, Martin Shine. Thanks for watching ShineCast.